everybody. My name is Tawana Houston. I am the founder of Connect LLC, and I wanted to jump on here really quick to give you all an update. Normally, every Friday, I do a call called Family Finders Fridays. And during those sessions, I take the time to answer questions that you may have regarding locating your loved ones or giving you all an update on my clients or cases that I'm currently working. Well, for the past couple of weeks, we have been focused on an individual by the name of David. His girlfriend was actually a guest on the show maybe about 3 weeks ago, and she was in the comments asking a lot of questions. Some of the questions were kind of vague, so I didn't want to give her specific answers during the call. So I told her after the call, I would reach out to her and get her questions answered. Well, that's exactly what I did. So on last week, he was actually a guest on my call, and he was able to share what the experience was like locating his biological mother. So let me rewind a little bit. Let me get you guys caught up, and then I'm going to let you all know what happened today, which is super exciting. Actually, it was very emotional, but let's get to it. So when they jumped on the call, his girlfriend was telling me that her boyfriend was adopted. He was adopted at birth. Never knew who his biological parents were, didn't have name, didn't have anything. So he's been on the hunt for 34 years trying to figure out where he comes from. Well, at the end of that call, I reached out to them, and I found out that he was born in New York. And to make a long story short, that is an open adoption state. So you are able to order your original birth certificate, and 99.99% of the time, the mother's name is going to be listed on it. Well, he actually had a copy of that birth certificate, and I was able to get the name of his mother from that record. Now, it's easy to get names. The hard part is finding the people that you're looking for. So on last week, when he was on the call, he was able to share with you all that I located his biological mother. I also located 2 of his sisters. I first located a first cousin of his and an uncle. So all these individuals I was messaging within a day. I located his mom, and everything else was just like a domino effect. So he should be meeting his mom in person soon. He's been in communication with his siblings, his aunt, his cousin. He's been talking to his family back and forth. He's been totally overwhelmed by it. He never knew his identity prior to last week. So he's really trying to soak all of this in and trying to figure out what to do next. He's really nervous about meeting his mother. He's kind of waiting for family to go with him to meet her. He has her address for, he's 34 years old. He's been living literally 30 to 40 minutes away from his mother. She still lives at the address. She's been there since the 70s, and she has never moved, and she's looking forward to meeting him. So if you were on the call last week or even the call prior to that, you kind of watched all this happen. But the exciting news is that today I was able to get his father on the phone. Now, let me share with you all what happened this morning. So actually late last night. So sometimes, because I've been looking for his dad for, I want to say a little over a week now. I found some family members that are related to him, but none of them have been responding. I found them on Facebook. I found them on Ancestry, wherever I need to look to try to locate them. I found them, but none of them was responding. Some hit me late last night and said, T, work this file. And guess what happened? I worked that file. It was like 1 or 2 in the morning. Here I am trying to find a contact number for his father. I was like, maybe I missed it. And so I found the contact number. Of course, it was too late for me to call it. So this morning around 8 a.m., I actually called the phone number. So I'm sorry, my dog is barking. But so the guy answered the phone, and instantly, the first thing I do is I say, hey, and I say the name. And just so they don't feel like it's a bill collector. Because when a bill collector calls you, what are they trying to do? They're trying to probe you. They're trying to get you to verify information, and you're going to hang up quick. So when a person answers the phone, I'm just getting straight to it. I want them to feel very comfortable. I want them to feel like it's someone they know is calling and it's not a business collection call. So fast forward, I was speaking to him, verified his name, And then he was like, "Who is this?" And I was telling him, I said, "I'm a good friend of a guy named David, who I believe is your biological son that you put up for adoption back in 1990." I just spit it out like that. And you could tell he just froze on the other line. So as we're talking, he's like, "Who is this again?" And I said, "My name is Tawana." And I said, "I'm calling in reference to who I think is your biological son. His name is David. He had your last name up until a week old, and then they changed his last name once he went into foster care and was officially adopted when he was at the age of 3." And he just got so quiet. And then I said, "Well, don't you have a brother named Gerald?" I said, "Don't you have a sister named this?" And he said, "Yes, yes." And of course, he ended with saying, "I don't think you have the right person." I'm like, "Okay." So I was like, "Are you sure?" I could tell my spirit, I just knew it was him. So I hung up the phone and I just took a deep breath for a moment. And I just got to thinking, started taking notes. I started looking, at the different things that I had discovered. I'm like, okay, maybe I missed something because I narrowed it down to 2. The other gentleman has passed away, and I've already ruled out totally that it's not him. So he is the only one. I'm like, this got to be him. So what I did next was I texted him. And the guy, he's from Haiti. He has a very strong accent. And so I'm like, okay, maybe he didn't understand me. Maybe I shocked him so bad that he needs to process all of this. I don't want to give up on him yet. I didn't want to call my client and say, "Hey, the guy who I thought was your father is not your father." I didn't want to do any of that because my spirit was telling me that this is the guy. So I said, let me text the number instead. Before I text the number, I actually researched the number to make sure it was a cell phone and not a landline. It was a cell phone. So I was like, perfect. So I gathered photos that I had of my client. I gathered pictures that I had of the gentleman that I was calling, of his siblings. And I just wrote out exactly what I had basically shared with him on the phone. I said, back in 1990, you were with a woman by the name of Veneranda. And I said, she got pregnant. I said, she was heavily on drugs at the time, so she had to give her child up into the system. And the child was in foster care. I said, the child actually had your last name for about 3 years while he was in foster care. And then he was adopted. His name was changed. I said, Veneranda's name is spelled like this. Her nickname is Benny. So she lived in New York at such and such address. This is her phone number. And she still lives in that same place. I put all of this in the text. I said, are you sure this is not you? So hours went by, right? Hours went by. And I'm thinking, okay, either it's not the guy or this guy is truly rejecting my client. He doesn't know how to process all of this. And keep in mind, before I tell my client anything, because I do not want to tell them that the biological father or parent, period, that they have been waiting for all of their life doesn't want to be a part of their life, right? So I want to give them the best news possible. So as I'm texting and I'm sitting there waiting all day, my phone rings, y'all. And the caller ID, you can see the man's name, the last name. It was the first letter initial and the last name was the caller ID. I answered that phone so quick and said, hello. And then he said, hey, he said, I just got a text. He didn't say, well, he said he just got a text. He literally just saw a text. I'm going to explain that in a second. So he was like, I got a text and are you the same person that called me this morning? I said, yeah. And he said, what's your name again? And I said, Tawana. He said, where do you live? I said, in Georgia. He said, okay. He said, when you called me, I was at work and I had clients around me. He said, that call messed me up so bad. But he said, I didn't understand what you were really saying and I couldn't get it. He said, but I read this text. So he was in an uncomfortable situation when I called him. He was at work. Now, when he got off work, he told me he went to the gym. He didn't see my text and he lived in an apartment. He pulled into the apartment complex. When he parked in the car, he just sat in the car for a minute and was going through his messages on his phone. And he saw my message, right? So, and I hope I'm looking at the camera, y'all. This is a new setup for me, so I'm still getting used to this camera. So he's like, just start bust out and crying, y'all. Just bust out in tears. He's so choked up he can barely speak. So the first thing he did, he said, ma'am, he said, I have been wondering all my life if my child was still alive. Y'all, when I tell you that call, I'm gonna try my best not to cry now. It messed me up so bad. Like he was in tears. He was choked up so bad. It was crazy. And he said, how did you find me? He said, how is he doing? He's like, I want to talk to him, but I can't talk to him now. He said, I'm too messed up to talk to him. I want to talk to him man to man. I want him to know everything. And I had to make him feel better. I'm like, listen, you have an amazing son. He was well taken care of. Y'all did the best that you could do with what you had at that time. I said, he doesn't have any ill feelings against you all at all. He wants to meet you. He wants to meet his mother. He wants to shake your hand. He wants to hug you. He wants to get to know you moving forward. He doesn't care about what happened in the past. That's where he's at. So I don't want you to think that it's a situation where he's blaming you or none of that. Right? You did what you could do at that time. Right? And he lived a great life. His adopted family raised a great man. Told him that he has 3 grand daughters, and that he has a girlfriend. His son has a girlfriend. They're raising their family. They're doing really well, and they're right there in New York. And so he started praying over me. So on the call, he's a Haitian guy, strong accent. So he just starts praying, and he was like, God bless you. He just kept on saying, you are a good friend. He just kept telling me that. He said, for you to do this, you are a good friend. And he said, you were meant for me. And he just kept praying for me and praying and praying and praying. He like, I'm just going to keep praying over you. I'm going to pray for you tonight. He was just going on and on. And I wanted to call my client so bad to 3-way him on the call. But of course, I got to respect both sides. I don't want to freak him out. And then he don't answer the phone. So he just told me, he just kept on saying, send me his number, send him my number. And he was like, as soon as I can get my thoughts together, I'm going to call him. So I asked him, I said, let's make a deal. How about I give you his number? I'm going to give him your number. And I want y'all to start off texting. I said, I'm going to have him text you, and you make sure you text back. And I said, I know you're older because it took you hours to text me back. You didn't even see it for hours. I said, your son probably got his phone all the time, and he's going to see messages quickly. So if you could do me a favor and just try to respond a little quicker so he doesn't feel like you're ignoring him. I want you to understand that he's already a little nervous, and he may, that he's automatically assuming that he may be rejected. So the best thing you can do is be responsive as you possibly can so he doesn't assume that you don't want to be bothered by him. And it was just such a beautiful thing, man. He's so excited. I told him the next phase, I said, 2 days later, I want y'all on the phone together. That's what I told him. I said, I want y'all on the phone together so that y'all can communicate, y'all can catch up. I said, by the time you get through 2 days of texting, you should calm down a little bit and you'll be able to have a conversation without crying. Ooh, y'all. This was so powerful, man. I just can't tell you how much this man prayed over me and thanked me. And I just wanted to tell him, man, I'm so thankful for you. I'm so thankful that you are a great guy, that you turned out to be so nice, that you didn't reject this, you didn't turn your back. I'm so glad that I followed my heart and I knew that it was you. I could tell it in your voice. I could tell the way I felt. And I'm glad I went a step further to make sure that it wasn't you before I gave up. And I'm so thankful for that. Right. And so we were just talking. So the next thing I told him to do after he talked to his son, I said, I'm going to make sure. And he lives in Port, some weird part of Florida I never heard of. So he lives in Florida. So I said, the next thing you're going to do is he is going to come meet you in Florida. I'm going to make sure he does that. I'm not sure if he'll have your granddaughters with him, but he'll at least come first himself and he'll meet you. I said, I'm going to make sure that I make plans to come too, because I want him to feel comfortable meeting you for the first time. Y'all have a third party in between y'all, and y'all be able to get to know each other. And I'll be present to make sure everything is all good. So I promise I'll be there. And he said he can't wait to see me so he can hug me. It was just a beautiful conversation. I talked to him about 20, 25 minutes or so. And as soon as I got off the phone, normally I go through David's girlfriend. I call her because that's how it started. And I tell her and I wait for her to tell him. But I was so excited. I called David myself. And I'm like, David, you just won't believe I got off the phone with your dad. I was like, you just won't believe it. And I'm like, he's so nice. He's so excited. I basically transferred that energy to him. I had to do it instantly. I wanted David to feel the joy that came from this man so that he know that his father loves him after all this time. He has 2 siblings. So he has a brother that lives in Orlando, Florida, and he has a sister that lives in Haiti. So he has 2 more siblings. Plus he had 2 siblings on his mom's side, 2 sisters that he's met. So now he has 3 sisters and 1 brother. It's just amazing. So he did ask me if his siblings were older than him. I was like, I don't know. I forgot to ask that question. But But yeah, so he's just so open to meeting his dad. He ready to go meet his dad. He texts him like I asked him to. I'm waiting for them to talk on the phone in a couple of days. So I'll follow up. And then I'll see when they're going to Florida. I want to see if he'll go in October because my kid is out for a week. And so I can just go down there for a day, come back and make sure they're all good. So I'm hoping that'll work out. But y'all, I just want to give y'all an update because I will not be able to go live on tomorrow. I normally do the show every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's called Family Finder Fridays. During those segments, I answer any questions that you all may have about how to locate your biological families. No matter what the question is, normally I can answer it on the spot. If not, I get back with you. If you have some information, I would like to get to the point where we have so many people watching where I can find people for you all live. I'm good at what I do, y'all. So if y'all come to the call with some information, I will take the time to search while we are live. Okay? So tune in on Fridays. I'm deciding whether I want to push it to every 2 weeks. And the only reason I want to do that is to give me time in between the calls to do my research, right? So normally if you have some information or if you've already taken DNA tests and you have maybe an Ancestry or 23andMe database, then I'm able to dig in there and get you some answers. But yes, I think this is going to be awesome. It's slow right now, but it's going to keep on building as long as we remain consistent. Don't be afraid. Remember, you can send questions anonymously on my website. I should have put my website up here. I'll just put it in the post on this video. But yes, just please send your questions. Go to connectllc.com. You can see it in that top left corner of this video. Yeah, right here. It's KINNECTLLC.com. I will also put it in a post. This is going to be on Instagram, every platform I have, YouTube, TikTok, you name it, it will be there. So just find the link. You could put your questions anonymously online. There is a tab on my website called Family Finder Fridays, or you can just use the contact form. You can email me, whatever you choose to do. And when I see those questions, I will answer them live on this call. If you're interested in hiring me to locate your family as well, there is an option to schedule a consultation on my website. It's $50 fee for the consultation. If for any reason that I am unable to locate your biological family, I am not even going to accept it. Now, my fee, you all, while we're on this call, I'm here to help people that's on that call. But if you want it more private, if you don't want the information shared, if you want me to keep everything tucked away and just work this on a private basis, then of course there's a fee associated with that. If you're on these calls and you have questions, I'm going to answer them live. And then I'm going to report the feedback and what happened on the future calls, right? Because it's all about empowering others to get the courage and the confidence to find out where they came from, to give them closure, right? So I'm excited about it. I didn't want this to be too long, but yes, this made my day today. Actually, a friend that saw the call that I met through another friend. I'm telling you, never know why you meet people. People are connected for a certain reason, right? But he was on that call and saw last week's call, and he was like, I never knew who my father is, and I want to find my father. So that will probably be the next big one that I will work, that I will follow through with you all. It's going to take about 6 to 8 weeks because I do have to meet with him to do DNA testing first because he has no information at all. So that's going to take a little while. But that's it, you all. So much love to you all. Just wanted to throw this quick update out there. Remember, I'm not going live tomorrow, but I will see you all the following Friday. Have a blessed one. Bye-bye.